Good evening. Today is April the 15th, and if you haven't paid your taxes, you're a little late. This is the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting tonight for Upper Moreland Township. At this time, we ask everyone to please take a moment for a moment of silent meditation. Thank you. We ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Charles Whiting. Sitting at the dais with me at time is Kit McFatrick and Commissioner Anthony Benvenuti. Thank you. Also sitting around the audience that we have tonight, we have our interim township manager, Pat Stasio. We have our assistant solicitor, Alex Baum. We have our assistant township manager, John Bates. This time, I asked my committee partners whether or not they want to approve the minutes for the meeting for March the 18th.
I'm good. I have no changes.
Second.
Okay, minutes are approved, stand approved. At this time, we will go to the heart of the matter, our monthly reports. We'll start off with our police chief, Chief Block, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Whiting. Good evening. It's a pleasure to provide the monthly report for the police department for March 2024. The Upper Moreland Police Department responded to 1,426 calls for service for the month of March 2024. The total calls for service year to date is 3,835 calls. The calls for service between February and March of 2024 indicate a 17% increase in the volume, and the monthly police department call volume increased by 8% between March of 2023 and looking back and into March of 2024. Outlining year-to-date call volume, March 2023, there was 3,848 calls. March of 2022, there were 3,721 calls. In March of 2021, 3,357 calls. The overall difference over the 3-year period is a 14% increase in call volume. The following Part 1 crimes were reported and investigated by the police department in March of 2024. There was 1 robbery, 1 aggravated assault, 4 auto thefts, 22 theft offenses, with 11 cleared by arrest. The robbery itself was cleared. It occurred at the Walmart. It started out as a theft and it was escalated by the perpetrator, and they were taken into custody without incident. The following Part 2 crimes were reported and investigated by the police department: 1 disorderly conduct offense, 2 public intoxication offenses, 6 narcotics offenses, and 23 other crimes committed and cleared by an arrest. The Patrol Division conducted the following proactive measures: 457 vehicle investigations, 77 hazardous traffic violations were issued, 94 non-hazardous traffic violations issued, 5 parking citations, 1 warning. We had 12 homeless contacts during the month of March, and 6 DUI investigations, 1 between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and 5 between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. Our traffic unit responded for 28 calls for service during the month. 7 traffic and parking issues were investigated, 1 directed patrol. They conducted 168 traffic stops and motor vehicle investigations. 120 warnings were issued. 39 hazardous citations were issued and 17 non-hazardous citations. There were 6 motor vehicle inspections that occurred. 4 vehicles were placed out of service, and there were no drivers taken out of service during the month of March. The Detective Bureau opened up 32 new investigations during the month of March. They executed 6 arrest warrants, 1 for strangulation, 1 for the strong arm robbery, 1 for criminal mischief, 1 for corruption of minors, and 2 for retail theft. And there were 3 search warrants that were issued, one for a DNA swab and two for vehicle search warrants. Just directing the committee's attention to two events that are coming up. We have the Montgomery County Police Consortium examination. It is on April 27th. This year it'll be held at the Springfield High School. The written examination will be given in the morning for police cadets, and the physical agility will be given in the afternoon. Also on the 27th of April, we have our semi-annual drug take-back. We'll be hosting that at the Giant Supermarket along with a food drive from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 27th, Saturday the 27th as well. And I'm also going to report out to the committee that we have one resignation from the police department. Officer Amanda Rossetti has submitted her resignation. She's been a member of the police department for 7 years prior to working in Upper Moreland. She was a Baltimore County police officer for 3 years. She's resigning to take over as a full-time mother with her 2 children. So we will have one vacancy, and the test is very timely right now to fill that vacancy, hopefully by the end of May. And that concludes our report for the month of March, and I'll open it to any questions of the committee.
Do we have any commissioner comments for the chief?
I do not.
Nope.
Yes? Public comments?
Sue Eartham Manor, Ward 6. I'd just like to commend the police department for the fabulous work they're doing in the areas that are so difficult to patrol. It's 25 miles an hour through the township on York Road for a long section, obviously, and from the edge of Abington up past the school. You would never know it. The only thing I have to say is yay when I'm going 22 miles an hour and really pushing down on my brake coming down York Road. And I see one of our fabulous police cruisers out there, and all of a sudden the lights come up because that person that passed you at 45 miles an hour and didn't seem to care about anything about our kids crossing. Yes, they're going to have a nice conversation with somebody who's going to tell them they shouldn't do that again. But that said, Chief, there is still that issue of going past the Queen of Angels, and York Road is one thing, but Easton is another because it leads to the turnpike. And there's absolutely no way that you can be safe coming out of side streets when somebody is going at 25 miles an hour and somebody's going at 45, and boy, are they angry because you're going at 25. So the people can't gauge, obviously, you know, what safety factor is involved in trying to pull out of any of the side streets. I've asked before, I know it's a big ask because it would take, maybe I'll be long gone in the ground at the point it happens, but the 40 miles an hour, we can't go from 25 to 40. We have to go 40 miles an hour past the post office. That's when all heck breaks loose, because people are heading for the turnpike entrance, and they're not going to be stopped. They're not going to be slowed. But when you're trying to come out of Dallas, et cetera, and you know I deliver in the township to different people for different reasons twice a week now, and I get to see a lot, and I'm trying to come out of the one side, and I'm trying to cross the Eastern Road, and they're coming down off the hill. It's still 25, but you would never know it. They are booking it for the turnpike. And 50 miles an hour is really fast in that area, and that's what they're doing. So if I had a timer in my car, you know, I'd send you the tape. If we moved that sign below to the next block, below the post office, then people who are trying to go in the post office wouldn't be hitting their brakes. People hit their brakes, they pull out into that left lane, and everybody's upset. That'd be great. At least you could pull them all over if you could at that point, and you could say, look, it's 25 miles an hour, that 40 mile an hour is loud, you know, it's the next block over, sir, or ma'am. So if we could do that, what do we have to mount as a community to get people to slow down on the one hand, and then maybe to get PennDOT to move that
Well, we're
sign?
we're currently doing the proactive enforcement with our traffic.
You're doing a
safety
great
units.
job.
They're out and they sit in the Calvary Church, and they're constantly pulling vehicles over for
Yep.
the school zone, as well as people after the school zone when they're over the 25 mile an hour speed limit. It's PennDOT roadway, Easton Road is, so We'd have to contact PennDOT to see if they would be amenable to change the signs because it's permanent at that, and they determine on where the speed limit signs is. So we can make a call to PennDOT to see about moving the signage.
Well, I hope the board itself, the safety committee would go to the full board, and whatever pressure you can bring as municipal leaders, you would bring it to PennDOT to say, we need to, I get that, people want to go 40 miles an hour to get up to the turnpike entrance, but not through our township, so.
If you recall, it used to be 35 miles an hour. We didn't even know about it. PennDOT just came in, changed the signs, and we were shocked on the board. We weren't even notified that it changed when it did happen. And that was, I guess, 4 or 5 years ago now. But no response to us. I mean, they just, all of a sudden, somebody from here
Somebody
just said,
decided.
yeah, like, why is it 40? And they said, that's what it warrants.
The other place I'd like it not to be 40 is by the high school. How can we have gone through Commissioner Whiting's area at 25 miles an hour? Another place where nobody likes me, by the way, Commissioner, thanks for that. Because I'm going 25, down Fitzwatertown Road. Nobody likes me, and that's okay. But then I come up and it's 40 past the high school. And then it's 35 coming through the neighborhood on Turwood Road. Why is it 40 past the height? Why isn't that 35 the entire way, plus your 25 through your area, Commissioner? What can we do about that? Why is it ever 40 by the high school?
It's county.
Part of it's county and part of it's PennDOT. They're the ones that do their studies on it and they'll change it.
What do we do about it? Does that make any sense to anybody who has a kid at the high school? Just asking.
Does a lot of things that PennDOT do make any sense?
I won't answer that, Commissioner, but thanks for the question. Well, I'd really like to see that all be 35, again, except for the section there where...
Sue, I would like to see it be 25 personally, because...
Okay, that's a bridge too far.
No. I mean, in the mornings when the flashing lights are shining, you have people still trying to go 40, but thank goodness our officers are there ticketing.
That's true, they are, picking them off one by one.
Okay, but see, this is where we're at. So, if you talk to Nancy Guest, maybe, or Maureen Collette.
I will certainly put my thoughts on paper, thank
Yeah,
you. I
thank
will
you.
do that, but, yeah, 35, 25, good speeds, and 20 through the neighborhoods, just saying. Thank you, thanks.
Thank you.
Your work's amazing.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Just a couple of questions, if that's
Yes.
okay?
Oh, Maureen, hey.
Tis I, Maureen Kuhn, 2713 Caroline. Just a couple of questions for you, Chief. After Amanda resigns, after her last day, how many officers will you have, including command staff?
That will take us to 37. We currently have 38.
Sorry?
We currently have 38 officers, and with her resignation, we'll go to 37.
And did I read this right and hear you correctly that in the last month, there's a 17% increase in volume?
Yeah, that's
Calls
correct.
for service?
That's correct. So
17%?
This month, or I'm sorry, the month of March, there were 1,426 calls for service, and last month, the month of February, was 1,197 calls for service. So there's been an uptick overall in the call volume.
And over the last 3 years, a 14% increase in calls?
Correct. Coming out of the pandemic, it's gotten
Okay.
busier.
All right, those were my questions. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask this or comment about it, but with the increase in the population over the last several years, between the apartment complexes that are existing, the apartment complexes that are coming, what is going to be done so as not to tax the police department, the fire department, and ambulance squads? I don't see that.
That'll come
If
up.
we,
That'll come up in budgeting
okay,
in November.
in November. So,
Well, I think we get it the month before, but November is when all the discussions happen.
okay. And how many officers are you slotted to hire from this next test?
There'll be one opening right now for Officer
For Amanda?
Rossetti,
Okay,
and then I'll have further discussions with Township Manager
okay, all right,
regarding some additional openings that'll be coming in January of 2025.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments at this time? If not, Chief Glassman, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Whiting. It's my pleasure to report the March 2024 report for the fire department. There were 64 fire calls, 18 EMS calls for a total of 82 calls. Fire permits completed, 56 inspections. The fees collected were $5,855. The turnpike fees collected were $1,225. PA recovery, we got 1,967. Year-to-date fees collected, $20,997. You know, we made some adjustments from what we collected last year, so I'm keeping a close running tab. So this year we collected $20,997. Last year we collected 4,690. So that's a total gain for the township of $16,307 just in 3 months to the good. Fire marshal investigations for the month, there were 8 of them. And our response time to structure fires year-to-date is 3 minutes and 42 seconds until a fire truck arrives at your front door. We participated in the career day at Eastern High School. We figured there was probably about 350 people there, including students and parents. 24 fire service personnel training for 232 hours. On emergency management, I participated, and Chief Block participated in the Montgomery County monthly meeting, the Eastern Montgomery County meeting. We also had our first and second planning meeting for the June fete with the Jefferson Health people. And we did a site visit to try to build out a security plan. That'll be happening in June. And that concludes my monthly report, pending any questions.
Okay. Any commissioner comments for the chief?
I guess the only thing I would clarify, your positive gain in funding, just so the public knows, that is not residential or taxpayers. That is coming through. That is business collected from insurance companies and things that Chief Glassman had come up with. We changed it, but this is not coming from our residents in our residential areas, that money.
Correct.
Okay. Yes? Any other commissioner comments? No. Any public comments? No? Okay, thank you, Chief. Tonight, Ken is not able to be with us. We have Scott, right? Scott? Scott, okay, Scott, we're gonna give a report, please?
Thank you so much for having me. For month of March, we're still waiting on the final numbers, how many calls for service we had. We did have one document case of Narcan administered. Total hours of staffing, BLS was 3,288 hours, BLS 12 hours, downgraded no status was 48 hours. All our members and staff recently went through the skills review in March. We have a lot of new protocols and treatments for patients that are ultimately going to help us, as well as the EMT scope of practice has increased. They'll now be able to administer epinephrine as opposed to the actual EpiPens. March 19th to 25th is EMS week. I know Ken will be probably putting out more information about that when he gets it all together. So, thank you. Any questions?
Okay, any commissioner comments for Scott?
One question. Where was the Narcan treatment done in private residence, or whereabouts was that done?
Yeah, I don't have that information.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
That was it.
Any other commissioner comments? Any public comments? No, at this time, thank you. We have no old business, but we have some new business, of which I'm gonna have Chief Glassman report on the ordinance. Please, Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. The ordinance we have tonight to discuss is an ordinance recognizing and certifying a fire company within the township of Upper Moreland to supplement and provide primary fire and emergency medical response, protection, and other traditional volunteer fire services and activities to the Upper Moreland Township residents. We officially had our first meeting of the Upper Moreland Township Volunteer Fire Department last week. The fire board met and established an executive board. After that meeting, the relief board met and established an executive board. We kept minutes, we recorded the meeting. The board was selected, they reviewed and approved the membership applications, they reviewed the bylaws, and I'm coming to the township and asking them to vote on the ordinance so we can formally establish a volunteer fire department back in the township so we can have support to supplement the career people that we have and have a traditional combination fire department.
Commissioners, how do you feel about it? Questions?
No, we've been waiting for this. We've worked on it hard and we're ready.
Ready to move it on then? Are we ready to move it on?
Move it up.
Let's go, move it up.
Any questions from the public?
Question, I'm sorry.
Nope.
No public questions? Any commissioner comments? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Glassman. Thank you for all the hard work you did too, man. That was tough. Okay.
We could do my fire safety tip, Commissioner.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what? That's why you're chief. Okay, Chief Glassman with this fire.
All right, can we get the picture that I have, please, back into the control room? We had a little incident just last week, as a matter of fact, and the commissioner asked me every month for a fire safety tip. This is picture evidence, what happened right here in the township. Thankfully, somebody was looking down on us because we almost had to replace a $300,000 trash truck. Luckily, the operator of the truck seen that the truck was smoking. They were able to get back to the yard and offload the load, and when we dug through it, that's what we found. Lithium batteries were dumped into a kitty litter container and disposed of in the normal, everyday household trash. So you know I like to use incidents to happen right here in the township. We've seen videos of FDNY repetitively. This is right here, homegrown. Please dispose of your lithium batteries properly, please. And that's taken right at the DPW yard. That's what we found just last week. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. This can be deadly. On this April 15th, that concludes our business. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't see you. Okay.
How do we dispose of lithium batteries?
There's plenty of places to find them. Very often the county has recycling. If you go there, if you notice the little ones, you can take them in the Best Buy, commercial stores, drop them in there. Somebody's probably doing something they probably might not. You can tell by the amount of volume there.
I think everybody throws them into the trash. All kinds of batteries.
I'm sure probably like one, but you can see that's a whole kitty litter container full of them, and then they get crushed, they create their own heat, and next thing you know, you're in a trash truck and you got a big problem.
Thank you. Next, public.
I would just like to commend the crew who was able to pull those out in time and save us from having to get a new truck.
Yeah, and I think the Public
Potentially
Works.
a lot of other damage.
Yeah, Public Works deserves a good kudo too, because they identified it and took care of it quick. They called our people when they were on the way back to the yard. I mean, all the stars lined up for us, and I'll take it every day.
Great, thank you.
Any more public concerns? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out. Thank you. Very good. Be safe.